Oh, because we're talking. Mm.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Darrell Wolf, and this is BHN Studios, and we are Braveheart Nation. And you're going to find that out pretty quick, that we know and we can stand within our power. But today, guess what? Today's show is called Down on the Farm. And you know what? I feel like I just want to get up and do a jig. What about you? But the reality is this show is going to be called Down on the Farm, and this is Tim and Tara. And they are in British Columbia, Canada. And we're going to start off today, and we're going to talk about their journey, okay, all right, to become homeschoolers and to go and do the farm life. They've been doing this now for about, I think, 3 years. I might be off, but it could be 3 years, maybe 3.5 years. So, you know what? If they can do it, we can do it too. And the reality is this show called Down on the Farm. Today we're going to be talking about ivermectin, okay? And we're going to be talking about ivermectin and the scoop on poop. And then we're going to see how well they like it. And you know what? If they really like it, then they may be doing a show maybe bi-weekly or weekly. I don't really know. But they've got a lot to say because they got a lot going on. They've got 3 lovely boys that they homeschool. And that's about all I can say. What do you think, Tim, Tara?
Yeah, thank you for having us. This is awesome that we're able to be with you on the show today.
Absolutely. And just so you know, everyone, Tara and Tim came and took the Whole Life Coach certification and the Wolf Non-Surgical. And Tara's actually a master practitioner, and she practices somewhere up in the bushes of British Columbia. Where are you guys located?
We're located just between Vanderhoof and Fort St. James, British Columbia, in northern British Columbia. So about an hour and a half from Prince George.
Okay. I'd like to sit back and I'd like you to just tell people the adventure of Tim and Tara. And, you know, actually, I need everyone to understand something. The scariest thing that you'll ever do, okay, is living your dreams, your passion, and your purpose, because we've all been programmed that it should be the scariest thing that we ever do. And the reality is, when you're calm and you're at peace, and within your heart, you know that's who you are. You know that's what you want, okay? You need to really keep that in the God spot of your heart, and you need to hold it there, and you don't share your passion, your purpose, your dreams with anyone except the people that have already done it and the people that would want it. Don't ever do it with someone that says, I'm scared about the future. I'm fearful about my life. You know, the people that have headaches all the time, the people that are stressed out all the time, the people that feel that they need to be on guard, because ready for the shoe to drop. Understand something. If you want your passion and purpose muffled, destroyed, then go ahead and share it with people that have no passion and purpose. What do you think, Tim?
Sounds right on, Darrell. Absolutely.
So anyways, I'd say it was about 4 years ago, and I was in my clinic, and you guys were there, and you're going, we're going to go buy a farm. And I'm going, what? You're going to what? Yeah, we're going to go buy a farm. We're going to go look for a farm. And you know what? Now you live on the farm. So why don't you tell people about that process? Were you both online about that you were going to just become like city dwellers, and then all of a sudden, whose idea was it? And was it mutual? And if it wasn't mutual, do you both love it?
Absolutely, it was mutual. We had a business that we were running. We had 2 locations, one in Vancouver, one in Prince George. It was called Clean Energy Consulting. And we decided that we really wanted to do something, especially after 2020, as a family. So we wanted to have the boys plugged in. We wanted to do something that we could work together as the family. So we wanted to purchase a farm. What we wanted was, a market garden, grow organic vegetables, because at that time we were eating whole food, plant-based diet, and with, the occasional meat treat, but of course we always sourced it to be organic, free range, local,
And
And we
loved, and loved.
and loved, absolutely, yes. So yeah, we ended up on 320 acres of a cattle farm, which we did not know anything about. So
Yeah, when we were talking to the owner and negotiating it, at one point I had to phone him and I wanted to make sure that he understood where we were at. And so I had to ask him, what kind of cows are these again? And so he said they're Herefords and Angus. And I said, okay, so what's the difference between a Hereford and a heifer? And so then he laughed and explained that. So yeah, we didn't know much about cows other than when they're free range, grass fed, and they're on the barbecue, they taste good. But we've learned a lot in the last 3 years.
Do you believe that you've got a good handle on it now?
we're still learning. Life is an adventure.
Yeah.
One of the things that we learned fairly quickly is that the most important thing is growing grass. And the most important thing about growing grass is the soil. And a lot of the way that, well, the other thing is that we talk to the people that are here, there's lots of support, and we would get different people's opinions. And then typically we would do the opposite of what everyone else was doing. And then that often got a lot of looks and comments, but mostly it's worked out really well.
So what do you do different in growing your grass that I wouldn't do, someone else wouldn't do? Like,
Well, one thing that we are against is spraying. We want to make sure that everything is done organically. We're not certified organic, but we definitely do.
Yeah, but guess what? That's just a money grab. That's a money grab.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a money grab, and I think it's pathetic. You know, you do know that there's an organic winery in Kelowna, British Columbia, and he would have to use $40,000 of pesticides, herbicides, and chemicals per season. Okay, that's how big his vineyard is. And because he doesn't do that, how much does it cost for him to certify his vineyard? $45,000.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so true story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One example is what people call weeds. And if you look in a book on natural remedies for the region that we're in, there's not a lot of vegetation that grows and we have long winters, but most of the weeds are in the medicinal plant book. And when you graze, if you do regenerative agriculture and intensive grazing, they call it forbs, which is really a name for a plant. And so what we have learned and are learning is that those plants are growing because the conditions for them are correct. And bare ground is an anomaly. So if there's bare ground, then the ecosystem is trying to get the ground covered. And depending on the diversity of the plants, then you have a diversity of the microbiome. And as you have a diversity of the microbiome and you keep the ground covered, then you get a layer on the soil that allows the whole ecosystem to start to flourish again. And so the conventional wisdom of tilling and fertilizing and seeding is what the standard conventional wisdom is as the fields get worn out. So what we're doing is bale grazing on the fields, which means in the wintertime, we put bales out and move the cows around, and that leaves a bunch of residual on the ground, poop and urine and whatever's in the bales. And then that puts a deep layer on the soil that starts to regenerate the field.
I actually was watching a video, and I didn't watch it all, but I was watching how a couple said, we never tilled the ground, we never did all this work that everybody else does, and we don't do the weeding that everybody else has to do.
As you improve the soil, then you can move the plant variety to ones that are more conducive to cows or people. And the beauty of the cattle is that mostly the cattle, but it's all those large herbivores, their interaction with the soil, uh, the way that their feet work and the way that they graze is very conducive to the health of the overall ecosystem. And if you can put other animals in with them, sheep can go in with cattle, and the land, they call it a carrying capacity, which is basically how many animals can you put on a unit of land. You can add sheep in with the cattle, and they don't require any additional land. So the carrying capacity accommodates that diversity. And it also breaks down a lot of the cycles of the pests and the parasites as you start to mix those animals together.
So the formula of their manure does that, or no?
It has to do, yeah, it absolutely has to do with the way that the parasites, their life cycle is, and the way that they go through the intestines. And as you start to mix it up, I don't understand exactly how it works, but it breaks those parasite cycles in both the animals. And you start to move away. I mean, we've done that. We've moved away from any vaccinations, any inputs. You've got antibiotics that are sort of hidden in everything, in the feed, in the mineral. And so we've moved away from all of that, and we haven't seen any detriment at all to any of the health of the animals.
Isn't it something? It doesn't matter where you go, what you do. These psychos are always trying to make us sick, make our animals sick, make our soil sick. So if you got sick soil, you got sick plants. If you got sick plants, you got sick animals and sick humans. And then you get sick, and then you go to get sick care. And then we go to the medical system, and now we start filling ourselves up with petroleum products. And wow, you know what? It's just around and round we go. You know, sometimes, I love my life. But sometimes I wonder, how did we become this big experiment that, for this group of people that don't want to kill us right away, they just want us sick, and they want to be able to control us and then get us to work hard to build the roads, build the buildings, build the highways, give them everything that they want, and then decide that it's time to harvest us like it is the last crop. And I know I'm a little off track here. I'll come back in a second, but I want everybody to understand something. You are on a planet that is a life-threatening, fun-filled adventure once you understand the rules, and nobody's coming to save you. Right, Tim? Has anybody come to save you guys yet?
Not yet. But tied in with that is the change in philosophy from attacking everything. It's we're not attacking the weeds. We're not attacking the parasites. We're trying to work with the rhythms and with what the land is doing. And that becomes a question of stewardship. And the more that you watch what's happening, and that's, I think, probably been the biggest fulfillment, especially for me, is moving away from the office and the computer to where you're out and you're seeing what's happening. We're seeing animals come back. We're seeing there's a huge diversity here, and it becomes, you can see the health of the place improve overall as you stop attacking things and start realizing that we are part of the world. We're part of the creation, and that it's not our enemy. The soil's not our enemy. These weeds are here, or these plants are here because of the way that the place is. And
yeah,
go ahead.
I don't think that you can attack anything without attacking yourself as well. And I don't think that you can go to war with anything without going to war with yourself as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It all ties back around again. And the more you try and remove the diversity from the system, the more you end up fighting with these outlying, call them weeds or call them, parasites or whatever they are. The more you attack them, the more they fight back. And as you start to work in harmony with it, then Everything like, and the biggest indicator for us now is are the animals happy? You know, go out there as long as they're happy and low stress, then I look at that and go, huh, okay, maybe there's something to this. Maybe stress is a good thing, but when it's stress that's motivating you to do
When
the
it's
work.
unmanageable, when you don't have the strategies to deal with that amount of stress. Like I deal with a lot of people. I deal with a lot of things right now. App coming, studio. We have a clinic here. We have a clinic in the United States. We have a warehouse in the United States, warehouse in Canada. And, you know, you don't take it personal. I know animals are different, but, you know, just what you said is, you know, we need to bring down the stress levels to the point that people can manage it, and stress is a benefit to testing the immune system, not destroying it.
Exactly. Those stress hormones create such havoc in our life. And if we have there's positive stress that motivates us to do the things that need to be done and to get off the couch and to go and do things. But there's also negative stress, which is worrying about things that we can't do anything about and letting these external factors influence us negatively.
How do you feel that, I want to ask you a question, Tim and Tara. How do you feel that you've changed on a personal level with the relationship with yourself, your family, and the world by taking on this new lifestyle that, you know, most people would be very scared to do it, because most people are actually so tied in with their technology and the word civilization, whatever that means.
I'll speak for myself. I think that the biggest change that I have seen in the family is the fact that we can just be so much more chill. We're not taking things seriously. We're able to, you know, if we're having a bad day, we go outside and go for a walk. I mean, we have 320 acres with a river on the backside of the property. The boys have learned how to operate the tractor. We have quads. We're able to, you know, be out in nature. We can go out and do our grounding every day. We just, you know, you can shut the world off. You don't have to watch, you know, we don't have TV. We don't have the news. We don't watch Netflix. We don't have any of that stuff. We just became more in nature, which brings everything back into balance.
For me, I think it's similar, but it's about perspective. It took a couple years for me to de-stress from
I could see that. And you know what? It's because you were geared for high stress. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It was just a thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, and realizing now that I was running on this, you know, exhausted mode and angry and ticked off and frustrated all the time. And as I've unwound from that, I can have the perspective that this is something that I choose to do. My priorities are much better aligned with the family, with self-care, with being plugged into the relationship that I have with Tara. And then as you interact with others around you, then they start to wonder what's the difference? Why do you kind of dance differently than we do? And why isn't everything a panic all the time? And
so
Yeah, with the boys,
I get it.
yeah, the boys are doing awesome. I mean, we still homeschool them.
How old are they now? How old are the boys?
So Caleb is 20, so he's working a full-time job and helping on the farm. And Joshua is 17, and Daniel is 14. So yeah, and the relationships that they have with each other is incredible. The relationships that they can have with others. We get people giving us, you know, compliments all the time about how they interact with strangers, how they interact with the adults. They make eye contact. You know, yeah, they're just, they're young men who are quite amazing, in my opinion.
Well, and you get so much more confidence as you work around the animals. The animals are able to sense where you are at. And if you're in a rush and you're upset and you're trying to deal with a 1,200-pound cow that really just wants to go and eat something and wander around, they won't tolerate it. And so you'll find yourself well, not literally beating your head against the wall, but you're not going to move her or him unless they want to go. And it causes you to become more aware of what you're thinking, how you're showing up. And for the boys, it just gives them confidence that I can do this. I can, these things that we've been told we can't do, that's a lie. It doesn't mean that we naturally, are able to do it without learning or without being challenged, but getting out and doing things physically with your hands, doing that physical activity. I mean, you don't have to pay to go to the gym. You can, lots of things to do. And the boys can learn equipment. They're learning carpentry. They're learning, as a farmer, you have to pretty much be able to do just about everything. So the attitude is, well, we don't know how to do this, but let's figure it out. And we go about doing that.
That's wonderful. And Tara, what about you with the whole homeschooling thing? And what is it that you do? I mean, I know you help the boys do the homeschooling. I'm sure you do a lot of things on the farm. Do you have any time? Do you still practice being a whole life coach or Wolf Non-Surgical? Do you have time for that? Or
Absolutely, yeah. We have a cabin on the property that I've turned into my clinic.
okay.
That's where we're sitting right now, is in our cabin.
You're sitting in the cabin that you have for your clinic?
That's correct, yeah. So we have a practitioner room that's here, and we have a bedroom so that people can come and stay there. It's got a kitchen, it's got a bathroom, very comfortable. So yeah, I still practice, and I have clients that'll come, and I prefer to do more of the whole life coach than the non-surgical, but I still do that as well. So yeah, it's busy, but it's fantastic. Learning how to do food preservation and canning, and we do. Well, I was always a cook prior to, and we always supported local farmers markets and whatnot. But so now I've got 3 cooks in the house. We practice what we preach. Our beef is farm to table, grass-fed, finished, and low stress. We don't want them to go to the food lot system. We don't want to take them to auction, which is what 99% of the farmers around this area do. So yeah, it's different. People think we're crazy, but that's okay, because I think we are in a good way.
Well, the deal is funny, you follow your heart. You still want to fit in, and you still want approval. But when you finally get to a point in your life when you realize the majority will never approve of you, then you realize that that's your stamp of approval. What a breakthrough. And no offense to the majority of the population out there, but I've been doing this now for over 40 years, and I will tell you, if the majority of the population thinks that I'm nuts, and they would have nothing to do with it, and I'm doing no harm, and it's actually putting a smile on my face, then I know I'm in alignment with my spirit. And that's really where it's at.
Yeah, I would agree.
So you will actually do personal treatment and trainings where people can come and stay with you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all right. And where are you located again?
We're located about an hour and 20 minutes out of Prince George, which is the largest city center. Prince George is BC's northern capital. It is in the center of British Columbia, with a national airport. And but yeah, we are in the bush, but it's gorgeous. We've got this beautiful setting. Like I said, when people come, they can come for hikes. They can interact with the cows. They can learn about farming. We'll teach them about what we've learned. We've got chickens. We've got lots of animals on the property. So, and the river as well. So yeah, it's a full experience.
Beautiful. Well, I think it's great. Now, how do I get in touch with you if I wanted to come for a treatment? Or I wanted to come get training. Maybe I just wanted to come and, maybe I wanted to come with my wife because maybe she has a pelvic problem, and maybe I could come there and you could give me treatment, and you could also teach me how to do some non-surgical so I could help to heal my wife. Or, and I know that every part of the body, whether it's the hip, the spine, the ankle, it doesn't matter, or the pelvis, it doesn't really matter. Or if I wanted to come and learn how to do a perfect day, change my diet, learn how to do the detoxification methods, and actually, for the first time in my life, know what real self-care is. So how do I get in touch with you? Website?
I have a website. You betcha. I have a website. It's familywellness-center.com. My phone number is 250-617-9679. And we also have a page on Facebook, Family Wellness Center. And our farm is T&T Farms. So we have two different businesses, but they're the same. They're operated by us. So
T&T down on the farm. Okay,
T&T.
well, also when we're done the show, if you wouldn't mind, please go on and on Facebook and put all your information there. Would you do that for me?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So anyways, can we talk about the scoop on poop down on the farm and your experience with ivermectin? And understand, in no way are we trying to put ivermectin down. They were telling me a story about giving their cattle ivermectin, and I think it's really interesting. And also, maybe other people out there that have done the same thing, if they'd like to call me and share their information, I'd like to understand this, because you know what? Be an investigator. Ask questions about things, everyone. And that's the problem. We don't ask questions. I'm going to give you one example. Okay, so let me see, 8 days ago on the WEF, World Economic Forum, they actually put up a page and they said, I hope you know that the whole COVID was a test pilot run. It wasn't real. And we actually did a test, and we were testing to see how many people would actually do something when you actually lie to them that can actually harm them, but they will do it anyways. Guess what? We passed. 65% of the population will actually do something that will harm them, even if they know it's a lie. Oh my God, I just didn't even know what to do with that. But the reality is this: we need to question everything, and everybody's ivermectin crazy, and I'm not trying to tell you not to do it, but I think that we have to look at things and find out, not one program suits everything. Tim?
Yeah, I don't have an opinion really on ivermectin. I think that I'm certainly not opposed to it, but part of what we noticed is that was a treatment that was done sometimes multiple times a year. It's typically sprayed on externally with a squirter on the animals. Yeah. And the intention of it is to deal with any parasites in the animals. And what I noticed though was that in the field, and I was going to bring a sample on, and Tara discouraged me from doing it, but we've still got.
I would have loved to seen a sample actually.
Okay, well, if we do it again, I'll bring the sample. See, Tara, I told you that Daryl would like to see the sample.
I would like to see rubber flubber.
Yeah, it's what it is. I've literally jumped up and down on some of this cow manure, and you can't break it down.
Can you explain what you did with your cattle and what you did, and then what you stopped doing, and what you noticed doing it and then stopped doing, and give us because I think it's really great information, and then I'd like to maybe hear from other cattle farmers out there.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what we were doing is we were applying it. I think initially we were doing it just after the cows had birthed. So when they were going to go out in the field, we would run them through the squeeze, and then we would make sure
Okay,
that.
now I apologize. Yeah, I know you
Yep.
said things, the squeeze, and did you say you sprayed it on them?
That's right. So we
It's on their back.
squeeze them. We would basically put them in an enclosure. It doesn't hurt them, but it confines them so that you can deal with them. And we would make sure that the udder was working well and the calf was nursing well, and check their feet and do all that kind of stuff that they don't like you to do. And then we would just take a pump and we would spray along their back, 60 or 100 milliliters of this ivermectin solution. And that would be absorbed topically, and it would deal with any parasites. And I think there's a list on the insert that says, here's the parasites that it would deal with. So that's standard practice. And it's one of the things that we felt wasn't really influencing the meat. It wasn't an injection. It wasn't the vaccination or any of those types of things. And in general, I think ivermectin does what it's advertised to do in terms of killing the parasites in the animals. So I was off to credit another farmer. I was on a grazing call talking about grazing with someone who's out near Terrace and near Smithers, out west of here. And he made a comment that the manure of the animals, when you give them ivermectin, will not disintegrate. And
it won't break down.
And
well, that's just not right. That's just not right. I mean, composting of that manure is everything that you need for your soil.
That's right.
Exactly. And so I twigged on that right away and asked him, and he said, yeah, it does something to the cows. And when they plop on the ground, instead of having the dung beetles and all the larvae and everything in it, it just turns into concrete. And I said, well, that's exactly what we noticed. We've got areas in our field that there's piles of manure that are 3 years old and they're fossilized. I mean, you could take a pickaxe and chop it up, but it isn't going into the soil.
And
hey,
the
listen, if it's happening to a cow, it's happening to humans. Thank you very much. Okay. Everybody's looking at the front end result, but not the end. They're looking at the front door result, but they're not looking at the front end, I don't think, yet.
Yeah. So we said, well, let's stop and see what happens. And so it was very interesting. This year, we stopped last year.
Yeah.
And this year.
No, we stopped 2 years ago. We only did ivermectin.
Yeah, so we stopped.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so now you've got, when I walk around there, all of the piles of manure are all scratched up, and it's the birds. But the bear was over scratching at the piles as well. And they absorb into the ground, and you've got cowbirds that have come back. So now I've got birds that are on top of the cows that are eating the bugs that are bothering them. And their plops are full of beetles and fly larvae and all the rest of it. So then the birds come and eat all of that. It gets all picked out, and then within the matter of a few weeks, it's absorbed back into the ground again.
Wow.
And now what we do for, parasite control for our animals is we actually went and bought a huge tote of organic apple cider vinegar, and we're putting that in their water. And we give them diatomaceous earth in their mineral. And I have not seen anything. Our animals look very healthy. They're happy. There's no issues.
Yeah, all you did was just go back to hundreds of years ago. That's all you did. You just reverted back to what always was used hundreds of years ago. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. And as you create that balance, the part of it that I believe is a challenge where people feel that they need to use ivermectin or other elements is that if you're feeding them a monotonous crop, which is coming off a field that has only one variety of plant on it, they're not getting that pharmacy, call it, of plants that are out in the field where they can go and eat a tree.
Oh my God, there it is. And you know what? I never thought about that, but the field is a pharmacy when you leave the so-called weeds that aren't weeds that are actually medicinals.
They'll even go and eat poisonous plants occasionally if they have the opportunity to do it, little bits of it, because they know what they need.
Yeah.
And they'll eat things that I've been told they won't eat. They'll eat thistle, they'll eat this false chamomile, they eat dandelion, now you don't want a field full of those things. You want fields with alfalfa and other plants in it. But they will go and eat those plants from time to time. And sometimes they prefer them. And the balance that you get by having all these different plants, everything improves.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. It just verifies things. We have a product called Critical Care Thunder Shrooms. And the Critical Care Thunder Shrooms, we have a 30-year-old and a 90-year-old one. And we've never seen immune building in people that have stage 4 situations, autoimmune disease that are life-threatening, and turn them around as fast. And then when you learn about mushrooms, is mushrooms that are medicinal like this, these are a special type of mushroom, actually challenge the immune system to be all it can be. That's it. So the reality is it's not like a poison that will kill. It's a toxin that will bring the immune system on high alert and tell it to go to the gym.
Hmm.
The mushrooms are growing on the manure too.
Yeah.
I don't
Watch out. They could be
ones.
magical mushrooms.
I wouldn't eat them.
I wouldn't eat them either, but they're growing.
Yeah, when I
Just one more story that I want to share with you, Daryl, is the Biotron light.
Yes.
We have used that light on all of our farm animals. We had a cow who the boys thought broke her leg. She was away out in the middle of an open field. We ended up bringing her back into the barn. It looked like she ended up with an infection above her hoof, which probably got a stick put through there, and then bacteria set in.
Right.
We had a vet come out. The vet said, you need to shoot your animal. She had a baby, a little calf. And we said, no. So we went out there. I'm going to give credit to Tim because he did most of the work. She was laying down. She allowed him to come in there. We brought the Biotron in there. We were doctoring up with iodine and cleaning that wound out 2 and 3 times a day. And we got her nursed back to health. And she was totally fine after that. We've used that Biotron light on the chickens, on the dogs, on our cat. I mean, it is amazing. Absolutely amazing for healing.
Thank you. And if I can take the minute, everyone, if you go to store.docofdetox.com, you'll see it. It's called a Biotron. It is the only full spectrum light on the planet. And nothing else has been able to outrival this light in 27 years. I said 27 years. And it also has a fluorine lens. If you see me with my glasses hanging all the time, today I was running around looking for my glasses just prior to the show and I couldn't find them because I wear my fluorine lens glasses. They're called Tesla eyewear, everybody. So the same fluorine Tesla eyewear that I wear, that fluorine lens is in the Biotron. And so it actually allows a full spectrum, like the whole spectrum of healing of light and frequency, and it goes down as deep as the bone. So there is nothing like it, and there's nothing priced like it either. Like most of the lights that are out there, so-called energy medicine, that we compare to this, they're up around $10,000. Did you know that, Tara? Anything that even compares to what this light can do, it's up around $10,000, where this is like probably about 25% of that in reality. We're talking US dollars. So yeah, the Biotron, I do the Biotron every day. We have Biotron. Lori has a Biotron on her side of the bed. I have one on my side of the bed. And we do the Biotron every day. And I live in the sunshine. But understand something. The Biotron has none of any of the little, there's not a lot of negative effects to the sun. I mean, you can burn yourself, but the reality is everybody makes it sound like there's a lot of negative to the sun. Without the sun, we'd be dead. And, but the Bioptron, you know, in their brochure, they say, you know, 2 minutes is good enough. Well, you know, you do know, I don't know if I told you this, Tara, but I used to wear prescription glasses.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And looking into the Bioptron light, which it tells you never look into the light. Okay. No, don't look into light, for God's sakes. So looking into the Bioptron light, I would actually do that every day, 3 times a day. And then I was doing like an average of about 2 ounces of MCT oil C60. And then using the Bright Eyes fulvic drops. And I've got perfect eyesight. I can see up close, I can see far away, and I'm never losing it again. I have a little flask. It looks like, you know, those, remember when the people used to take like little nips, like a flask of alcohol? Well, I've got C60 in it. So I just keep on taking little sips throughout the day of MCT oil C60. I keep doing my Bioptron, and my eyesight has never changed. And people don't get that. They think it's, and then it's the craziest thing. People just don't, well, they're just not programmed, are they, like that? And how many farmers actually would take a Bioptron and put it on their cow's leg? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, that's why we think we're a little crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
She wasn't very,
just a little.
just a little. She wasn't very friendly either. She let me do it for about 2 weeks, and then I think she said, "That's enough. I'm done. I'm good. Get out of here." And then she wouldn't let me do it anymore.
But then she stood up and she was fine.
Yeah.
So she knew when she was healed.
Right. Well, she had to stand up. She had to get away from Tim.
That's right. And nurse her calf.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it's just such interesting information, and I guarantee you somebody's going to come out with some kind of study or something. We're going to hear about this again. I mean, nobody wants rubber flubber manure that doesn't break down and compost. And everybody, if I can say this, is it okay, Tim, Tara, if I take a couple minutes here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, understand, everyone. Your large intestine is God's compost. And understand something. Whatever you put in here is going to make a 30-foot travel and come down into your compost. And it's going to decide what type of bacteria you're actually going to grow. And if you were on a whole plant-based diet, if you had a balanced diet, you know what? People just don't get it. 85% of your immune system lives in your large intestine, not your small intestine, not your liver, nowhere else in the body. And understand something. You need the right bugs growing in your large intestine. You're not going to go in there. You know what? I got to tell you something. I will never take an antibiotic in my life. I will never do it. I will never have to. I will never have a life-threatening situation where I need to take an antibiotic. And understand something. What moron decided that if you have an earache, you could take an antibiotic where you put in your mouth and it goes all the way down, travels 30 feet, goes off like an atomic bomb in your large intestine, and guess what? Antibiotics are like chemotherapy, and it just creates the yeast into fungus, which is a bad fungus. It's not a good fungus, and then it takes the bad bacteria, and yes, it will kill the bad bacteria, but it will also mutate and distort and destroy your good bacteria. Okay, so you're never going to win from it. And understand, if you really want to know, nature has way better antibiotic therapy with no side effects. And I'm not going to get into that because this isn't a sales pitch day. But the reality is we really need to honor, love, and respect the large intestine, okay? Because your core, when it's on the floor, you're not getting back up. And understand, if anybody didn't notice, the whole system, whether you talk about any corporation or any system, they're always targeting going after the large intestine. You can actually walk into almost any practitioner's office and you can look like you're 6 months, 9 months pregnant, and they'll tell you need to lose weight. You don't need to lose weight. You need to lose waste. You've got the wrong kind of waste, the wrong kind of bacteria, and it's gassing off and it's blowing you up. Okay? Where do you think it's heart attack? Where do you think all that pressure comes from? Okay. Where do you think all that acidity comes from? Why do you think we make so much cholesterol? It's because we're on fire. It's called inflammation, and your body makes extra cholesterol. And then guess what? And then they put you on the steroids, and then the steroids only have one effect, and that's it. And that's to stop making cholesterol. And your brain's made out of 20% cholesterol. And that's why the main side effect of any statins, I didn't mean steroids, any type of statin, the main effect of that is actually you get to have dementia and Alzheimer's, and you get to have somebody wipe your butt for the rest of your life. And understand something. No one's ever died of high cholesterol problems, okay? But remember something. If you would have looked after your compost, you wouldn't have had high cholesterol problems, because cholesterol is like, it's like candle wax, and it's to goop up the cracks, okay, until the cracks heal, okay, in your arteries, in your veins, and that's what it does. And the reality is nobody's ever been injured because they have the wrong cholesterol or too much cholesterol. And I'm putting it out there. And I'm also going to do a masterclass, which is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour, to prove that the statin drug thing is a big lie, and it's killing people. And it's not just doing that, but people are forgetting their families, and the families are getting brokenhearted all about statins. And I'm telling you something, you medical doctors, you need to wake the heck up and pull your head out of your butt, okay? And understanding something that up your butt is where it all takes place, and that's where the immune system is, in that compost. Your large intestine is your compost. It's also 85% of your immune system. That's all I wanted to say. I feel better already. Yeah. Anyways, and whether we're talking about animals, children, humans, it doesn't matter. We're all the same, okay? We have so many similarities. And it's all about love, honor, and respect each other. And they've taught us to attack, just like you guys, you know what? When you first become a farmer or become anything, doesn't matter what you're doing in life, you're going to do what the majority does. And the majority always have rules to attack, and to attack this, attack that. Let's attack the cancer. Let's kill the cancer. Let's have a war on cancer. Understand something. That this is the biggest problem on this planet, is going to war with anything. Like I said earlier, if you want to go to war with something, you're going to war with yourself as well. What do you think, guys?
Absolutely. Nailed it.
Anyways, I don't know where we're going from here, but we will be talking to Tim and Tara and find out if they enjoyed this. And who knows, maybe, I'll do 2 or 3 or more shows with them, and maybe they'll fly on their own and then get rid of me, just like the cow that wanted to get rid of Tim. Okay. All right. But the reality is it was really great having you guys on. Is there anything that you would like to add or leave people with?
I'll just say that thank you, and that this is really a continuation of the wisdom that we got when we spent time with you a few years ago, and recognizing what it means to be healthy, and recognizing what it means to seek the truth, and to be curious, and to pay attention to what's going on around us. So really appreciate everything that you've done for us, and we appreciate you. Thank you, Daryl.
It goes both ways. Tara?
Yeah, I just echo what Tim was saying too. And I want to encourage everyone that's out there. If you're on the fence to do something, don't allow those lies to pull you back. Just go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
You'll have fun falling forward.
That's right.
Well, yeah, and the worst thing that's going to happen is just the people you shared it with that don't believe in you will tell you you're wrong.
And that's okay.
And that's okay too.
Tara,
if I wanted to come and see you for a treatment, or wanted to come for a personal treatment and training for 5 days a week, or whatever the case may be, how do I get in touch with you again?
Yeah, we have our website. It's called familywellness-center.com, or you can contact us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, and my phone number is 250-617-9679.
Thank you, guys. And thank you for blessing everybody that's been on today to watch the show. Okay.
Awesome.
And thanks for coming to the show, everyone. Down on the Farm with TNT. Tim and Tara. God bless.
God bless. Thanks,
Bye,
Daryl.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. So that was these are the shows I love. This is what it's all about. It's about coming together and sharing our experiences with each other to help each other grow. Wouldn't it be great if we no longer saw different colors of people? We no longer saw different religions. We no longer saw different languages, and we just use the language of unconditional love for ourselves and for each other. That is my mission. And what the heck, I'm really enjoying it. And whatever the outcome is, it's the outcome. But the reality is, I think I picked that one because that's how I learned to become it. When I first started, when you first start doing things, you're gonna question yourself. You're gonna doubt yourself. But you know what? Sit quietly with the things that you want to do or the things that you want to become. And you know what? When you're there with yourself and that which we call creator, source, God, and make a decision to put that in the God spot of your heart and don't allow anyone to move it out. Repetition is the key, just like watching commercials and listening to your friends and your neighbors and relatives go on about the same old thing. They're all just parroting what they've been taught. And it's going to take a brave heart, and it's going to take you minding your own business and staying quiet, okay? Because you need to recycle your strength back into yourself. It's not called being selfish. It's being centered into self so that you can get what you want. Let me tell you something, what I deserve. I deserve everything. I deserve everything from the Creator. I don't buy into sinner syndrome. I don't buy into guilt anymore. I observe. I look at how can I do better the next time? How should I have reacted with that person? Did I feel my way into that person? That person's more sensitive. I shouldn't have come on that strong. But it's not about right or wrong. It's about maneuvering and just helping to be there for everybody on as many levels that we can. And then also pulling back and giving to you, not always to your children and your husband, your wife, and to the world. Giving yourself what you need. You are going to be angry. You're going to be frustrated. You are going to be sick until you become number one for you. You have to become number one. Until you're number one, okay? You will be upset with the world, and because you'll be waiting for the world to give you. When you give more of yourself than you should, you're waiting to have someone tell you you're amazing. I would die without you. I can remember when I was younger, I wanted to meet a woman that would die without me and that I could save and understand something. Wow, I would run from that today. Okay, so. We don't realize that, we have the only virus that's really true is called victimitis until we become our own Braveheart, okay? I want to thank you for joining me today. And just know this, take a look at BHN University. I will be doing a whole life coach course here starting October the 9th in Ixtapa, Zihuatanejo, Mexico. And then Dr. Sage Wolf will be doing one right after me, which is called Wolf Non-Surgical Certification. And then Lorraine is coming down, and she will be doing the 3-day masterclass here as well. And we've got some big surprises coming for a lot of people. The BHN app comes out on September the 16th, and it is the biggest, most powerful health app on the planet, and it's 98% free. And that's the truth. And check out my library, which is called docofdetoxlibrary.com. Has more masterclasses than any other website. It's all free. All right? And just know this, Canada, I'm coming up to do a tour in Calgary, and I'm going to be in Toronto, and I'm going to be in Kelowna, British Columbia. And I'm also going to be going to LA to do a day with the doc and heal your family, heal your life. So if you want to check those out, you can go to my website as well. And just know this, we're going to keep on coming. We're going to keep on sharing. And you know what? You don't have to like me. You don't have to buy into my information, but I'll just keep repeating like the commercials do on TV that you know that you're dealing with petroleum, but you still go to the pharmacy to buy them, maybe I'll reach you somehow. And that's it. And remember something, it's about unconditional love and care for yourself. First and foremost, because if you can't do it for yourself, you can't do it for others, okay? Again, God bless. And 3, 2, 1, we got this, Bravehearts.